welcome back. You're watching KTN Sunrise Live. Thank you for staying with us. Now, even as all the candidates present their papers to the IEBC, they are now officially on the ballot box, and the official campaign period can now take off. We want to know what these issues are, and that's our question of the day. We're asking you, do you think the campaigns are addressing your issues, the ones that are important to you, or is it all just political rhetoric and talk about personalities? To tell us more about this and to have this discussion with me, Peter Okothalingo, who's the Executive Director of the IED. He's also a steering committee member of the Election Observation Group, and they will be monitoring these elections very keenly. Peter, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. We're talking about the campaigns now that, you know, it's becoming official as to who's on the ballot paper come the March the 4th.
Yes.
Will we see issues? Do you think we're going to see issues this time around on the campaign trail?
Well, it's always been our hope and desire and expectation that we see issues coming out of these campaigns. And I think we are just seeing this a little bit at the middle of it now, that the clearance by the IEBC is happening, and then the official campaign period is kicking off just soon, in a few days, by 2nd of February. And you see issues documented, and this is the sense of the manifestos that we see the coalitions launching, because that is the basis of the issues that we want to see. And moving forward from now, we want to see candidates, and especially the presidential candidates and the candidates under the coalitions, espousing very clearly the issues that focus on development and improving the life of Kenyans, as embedded in the manifestos that they have launched for us. Those are the things that we want to see anchoring the campaigns moving forward, so that we avoid campaigns that focus on personalities and that also focus on emotions, whipping up the emotions of Kenyans and inciting them. That is precisely what we want to see out of this electioneering campaign period. And moving forward, I think there are a lot of issues here, so many. If you look at, for example, the manifesto that the Code Alliance launched the other day, and you scan through it, you see quite a lot of important issues for this country and for the citizens of this country. Those are the things that we want them to explain to us, so that we as Kenyans, as voters, we are able to connect. And we also want to see the other alliance, the coalitions, the Jubilee, the Amani, and also the other candidates as well, including independent candidates who are running for purposes of office, espousing the platform for their campaign and how that links up with all of us as Kenyans, because our desire is to see a new crop of leadership that can enable us implement the Constitution and also carry forward the reforms as envisaged under the Constitution, but most importantly, create wealth for Kenyans and improve the well-being of every individual Kenyan. That is what we want to see coming out of these elections. And moving forward, whoever is elected, we also want to see them, implementing those platforms, those issues in the manifestos to the very letter. Okay. And we as Kenyans, I think our responsibility is to start to listen to them very carefully on these issues as they talk about them, as they discuss them, as they explain them to us, so that we are able to begin to have that initiative that can compel accountability on their part.
What do you think will be the key issues that will define this election? What do the candidates need to focus on such that they touch base with the electorate?
Two key things that I see. One is the question of the new constitution and its implementation moving forward. And in that regard, there are also quite a lot of issues that you see emerging out of the implementation of the new constitution, so that we are able to realize the dream of every Kenyan, the aspiration of every Kenyan. And in that constitution, there are a lot of things that Kenyans want to see, like how devolution will work, and how this will be facilitated from the central government, and also the systems and the new systems that have been created and the structures that have been created, how these are going to move forward. But most importantly is the question of employment creation, wealth creation for Kenyans, and moving this country forward on the path of economic development. That is critical, because poverty has remained a critical issue, and unemployment has also remained a critical issue that has also generated a lot of social problems. And these are the things that we want to see coming out of these campaigns that will take place, as soon as the clearance is done with by the IEBC on 2nd. So these are the things that we want to hear from the candidates, explained very well to us, and linked to us so that we are able to connect with them. It is this agenda. That is the agenda for this country. We want to see improvement in indications that the platform that they have will enable us as a country move forward with the improvements in our infrastructure, social amenities, education, health, all these are the things that we want to see. But we also want to see a way in which they are able to assure us that we will remain peaceful as a country, and there are a lot of issues that are disconnecting us as Kenyans, and therefore making us disengage with each other. And that destroys the fabric of the unit called the nation, Kenya, So as citizens, we must be able to look at these things very carefully and demand that the leaders and those who are campaigning for positions live up to the things that they promise us.
Well, we're talking about how the citizens can play a role. During the campaign trails, as we've seen, there are massive rallies, a lot is happening. How are the citizens expected to be able to hold their leaders to account?
Two things is that, the electoral process, elections, is about citizens, really. I mean, it's a process where leadership is chosen, leadership that then can live up to the needs and the desires, and can, connect with citizens. That is the sense of accountability here. So it is that power which citizens have to elect the leaders through the ballot. That is the power that enables them to also seek accountability. And accountability is a matter of every citizen. We must be able to begin asking the hard questions and put them, squarely on the face of these people who are campaigning and canvassing for our votes, that look, these are the problems that we have. You must explain to me how they are going to be resolved. You must explain to me how this country will be better. You must explain to me how, if I give you my vote, my life as an individual, as a society, as a country will improve. So these are the basis of accountability, and we must be able to begin to ask questions, not to rely on handouts as we've always done, because buying our votes means that we are mortgaged completely. Okay. And therefore we have no moral, ethical basis to then ask people to account.
That's right. Okay. The official campaign period begins in February, just about a month to the election. This was announced even last year, the minute we got the date of the election being March the 4th. So the question we're asking, though, is we've been in a constant campaign mode. We've got candidates who started traversing the country selling their policies to the people as early as January last year. Is there a danger to our constant state of just being in an election cycle every month of every year?
Absolutely, there is a great danger in that. I think as a country, we cannot be in an electioneering campaign mood forever. We must be able to distinguish our priorities very well and place them in perspective so that we know that at this stage in time, these are the issues, these are the problems that we are dealing with, and these are the ways and the strategies to resolve them. When we are in a campaign mood, as we have done all through the year, we lose these critical things, and our priorities are also lost, because then our focus remain squarely on politics, which is sometimes generates a negative effect on a number of things, including the critical developmental issues and agenda. So we must be able to know, that campaigns come and go, elections come and go. They happen every 5 years. And in that regard, there is the official campaign period. And this is what we need to understand. And most importantly, the body that is responsible for supervising elections and conducting elections has to be able to explain this so that people understand that any campaigns that happens before the official campaign period is illegal, and we have to deal with it.
What can the IEBC do about it? Because they've been announcing that it begins February the 2nd. Do they have any teeth to bite and say, if we see you out in the campaign trail? And it's tricky because they say they have the right to talk to their people. That's what the politicians say. It might not be a campaign, it might be a chance to meet the people and speak to them. How does IEBC manage this process?
The IEBC has quite a lot of powers under the new constitution and the IEBC Act, as well as the Elections Act, in dealing with some of these things. The tricky part is that it's always been a little dicey in terms of when exactly does the component on election offences begin to apply, and that is where we normally have a little problem because we cannot locate this before the official campaign period. And therefore, it's not very easy to hold those who continuously campaign accountable for what they do. But invariably, the principles are there that guide the electoral process, and they are very clear that, you see, there are things that can happen, in the country. The country must move on, that is for a fact. But the country has to move on, focusing on critical agenda that can enable the country grow. And if leadership is going out there to meet the people, then this should be, essentially on issues that relate to the people and how to improve their lives, but not politicking. But we have seen a sense in which politicking has been disguised as a meet the people tour, and this is dangerous because it then deflects our focus as a nation, as citizens, from what we need to do.
When you compare the campaigns at this precise time with what was happening in 2007, the campaigns so far between what we're seeing now and what we saw in 2007, are we moving in the right direction? Are we talking about issues more now than we did in 2007, or are we not?
Not yet. I think, to be honest with you, I still see a sense in which we are not focused on the issues yet. For me, the issues are really anchored in the manifestos, and these manifestos are just being launched now, Yet we have had campaigns for the last over 1 year happening, and the kind of campaigns that we've seen going on are campaigns that are focusing on other, non-critical issues. We are talking about the trials that are going on at the ICC and all manner of things. And we see a sense in which incitement is also happening, and ethnic, incitement, ethnic hatred is also happening. And balkanization of the country is also happening, and an attempt to block vote, zone the country is also happening, and that has been the nature of the campaigns, where we also see individuals, just pouring, scolding each other, so to speak. And for me, that is not the issue. We've seen quite a lot of these personality engagements in the political arena happening from time to time, and those are not the issues. So we, for example, would have expected that political parties would focus on their agenda and the platform for the people of Kenya in the nature of the manifestos and the platform, and launch this early enough so that citizens can have sufficient time to interact with that platform, the manifestos, because it is in the manifestos that issues emerge. And it is the manifestos, in my view, that should drive the campaign agenda. Absolutely. This is coming late in the day, and we are only having 1 month,
to interrogate
the issues in the manifestos and the campaign platform and agenda, and to interact with them and to seek clarifications
on some of the issues. As part of the elections observation group, tell us about the role that you will be playing as we monitor the campaigns, as we monitor the election, as we monitor all manner of things, including security that's been put in place for this election.
Yes, this is a critical component of this exercise. We will be focusing on observation of these elections, and we've also been looking at it very closely. We work together, various organizations. We all pull together as a platform, which then does this on behalf of citizens of this country. So we want to assure the citizens of Kenya that, look, there is an eye for you in this process, and there is an eye which has already been engaging with this process and looking at it very carefully from a long-term basis. So the Election Observation Group, which is a platform under which my organization, the Institute for Education in Democracy, does observation, has already formed itself, and we've been doing this work since 2010 in the referendum, and that is when the Elections Observation Group was formed. And what we've done is to put in place processes that will enable us to collect information, but also provide recommendations that can help positive interventions to be made in the process. So we've looked already at the process from a long-term basis. We've looked at issues around voter registration. We are now assessing the voters register to see the extent to which it is accurate, it is complete, and it will be timely. We've also looked at issues of violence, you know, because we have isolated a number of thematic issues, around 7 of them, and looking at those issues very closely and providing informed proposals and recommendations, many of which have assisted the Electoral Commission and other agencies of government, including the police, to prepare themselves very well for the forthcoming elections. 2, for the election day itself, we are now in the process of training our observers, and we have them everywhere. Now, we've had 290 long-term observers whom we have placed on the ground and already collecting information and sharing with us. And we are analyzing that information and sharing that with the citizens of Kenya periodically, so that we engage, focus our energies on preparedness for these elections. On election day, we will be fielding general observers as well in the 290 constituencies, but most importantly, we will be conducting what we call the parallel vote tabulation, which is a statistically driven scientific methodology for observing elections, and that will enable us to also help Kenyans safeguard the integrity of the election process on the election day in terms of its quality, but also the integrity of the results. We will be able to project the results for Kenyans and tell them whether we are happy with the integrity, credibility of the process or not. Yes.
Peter Alingo, thank you very much. We will be looking forward to the work that you are doing in the Elections Observation Group and also with the IED. Speaking to Peter Alingo, who's the Executive Director of IED, talking about the issues that will shape this election, talking about wealth creation, creation of employment opportunities as well. So keep your comments coming in. You can tweet them at Yvonne Okwara at KTN Kenya. You can also send them in 8040. Leave us your name and your location. What are the issues that you want defined in this election? Are they being addressed during the campaign period? Keep your thoughts